everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Clean Bold podcast. It's a brand new cricket podcast, soon to be the biggest cricket podcast in the world, obviously. So for this first historic podcast, I'm joined, who's going to be my regular host across this podcast. It's Kieran Rogers. Kieran, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on. It's exciting. It's something new, different. Again, reason why I'm in this game is there's always new ways to get involved in it, whether it be on the field or off the field. So yeah, I guess one of those ventures where it's not necessarily on the field and you get to chat about the game and spread your love and understanding of the game off of it.
Well, this podcast is all about the game that we love. So obviously we will talk about the current game, things happening. Obviously, we'll get into the World T20 World Cup just started today as of recording. But also, we want to talk about things that maybe we won't hear on other podcasts, like the grassroots cricket. You know, we both play league cricket. We obviously started our own touring team called the Nomadic Kings. So shout out to them. We want to talk about how that started today. And obviously, you are an ECB coach. So in this episode, I really want to hear more about your journey, about how you became a coach, what that's like in South Africa, and what it's like where you are in the UK. So we got a load to get through, but we'll start with the big one. It's the men's T20 World Cup. Quite exciting. Few upsets. Pakistan beat Netherlands. Sorry, no, I'm down. Can't get in trouble straight away. So yeah, Pakistan beat Netherlands. West Indies beat Scotland, and India, the hosts, defending champions, beat USA. But again, if you look at the score, it might seem like that was a comfortable victory for India, but it really, really wasn't. So we'll get into that. So Kieran,
you weren't stressing at all at any point today with
I was
India
calm and collected. I knew it was gonna happen. You know, even when India was 77 for 6 in the 12th or 13th over, I knew it's fine. No, fair play. And I think, as we were saying just before we started recording, this is the beauty of 2020 cricket, is that it can level things a little bit. In 50 overs, I think the associate nations tend to get found out just with their lack of experience in the longer formats of the game. But I think it's really cool with the 2020 that because it's so short, the margins are so small that you do get upsets all the time. I think in the last edition, USA, Zimbabwe both beat Pakistan. You know, so you are going to get some upsets along the way, and we nearly had a couple today. Let's just start with we'll go group by group. And we'll go through the teams, and then we'll predict who we think is going to progress from each group. I think they then progress to a Super 8 stage, and then the top two qualify for the semi-final. So we'll predict our semi-finalists, and of course winners. So Group A. Now, obviously, this tournament has not been without controversy. There's been a lot of political stuff. I don't want to get too much into that, but I think we can't not talk about it at the same time. Obviously, Bangladesh are not in the tournament this year. They've withdrawn from the tournament because they didn't want to travel to India for safety concerns. So they've been replaced by Scotland, who played West Indies today. Pakistan and India, even though I always think these groups are randomly drawn, but somehow again India and Pakistan have found themselves in the same draw. I don't know how that keeps happening.
Every World
Cup, it's incredible. What a run of sequences. But now Pakistan, at this moment in time, have said that they're going to boycott their game against India, which is meant to be in Sri Lanka in a week's time. I don't know when the exact date is, but I think the final group game is India-Pakistan in Colombo. Pakistan, I'm not given a reason why, but they're threatening to boycott the match. India have said they're going to travel to Sri Lanka, so that's really interesting. But we'll get into that whole situation. But the other teams, and you've got India, Pakistan, you've got the Netherlands, you've got the USA, and you've got Namibia. So obviously, as of now, 3 of those teams have played a game. 4. India have beaten the USA, and Pakistan have beaten Netherlands, and Namibia are the other team. Look, Pakistan are a really unpredictable team. That's why they're quite dangerous, I think, is because you never really know what's going to happen with them. They are the kind of team that will lose to a Netherlands, an Afghanistan, or a USA, but they're also just as likely to make the semi-finals. You can never really be sure what they're going to do. And today, I really thought, I had a feeling that Netherlands were going to win. And my God, they came super close. In fact, when Pakistan needed 29 of 12, I really thought, what, this is it. They've done it again. It's happened again. They've choked again. But fair play, they pulled it out of the bag and they went on to win. What do you think about all of this group?
I think it's an interesting group. I think it's got a mix of, like, obviously your top class teams. You've got a few dark horses in there. Again, with the way USA played today, they're not way out of their depth. They've also got a load of experience. It's one team that I'd like to see progress, just from the simple fact that I think it would add a bit of a talking point in the world, because people don't believe USA should be playing cricket, yet they are, and they are proving their worth. But with India and Pakistan, I think it's very difficult to dismiss those two on going further. They're always going to stand a chance.
USA played really well today, so it would be really nice if they would. And look, as we said, on paper, you would think logically India and Pakistan will be the two teams that qualify from this group. But that India-Pakistan match, which if it doesn't go ahead, if Pakistan boycott the match, surely the 2 points then go to India. So what happens
I have
then?
no idea how those. I have no idea how those logistics work.
Because if that's the case, let's just assume that's the case, that Pakistan boycott their game, the game is forfeit, so India get the 2 points, and that actually brings a lot of interest that brings the other teams into play.
Mm-hmm.
If Pakistan were to slip up against, I think Pakistan USA is going to be a big game.
Possibly waiting to happen, because USA will want to do exactly what they've done to them before. Pakistan will have the demons of years gone by, so it's one of those games that's open for debate.
So yeah, I'm saying India and Pakistan to make it through. Who are you going to say? I'm going to stick with India and Pakistan for now. Who do you think?
Well, I would like to see India and USA go through from that group.
Okay, that's a bold pick, but I like it. Group B has got Australia, co-host Sri Lanka, Ireland, Zimbabwe, and Oman. Let's talk about Australia. I mean, do you think because they're always they're a team. They are the team. They win. They've got such a good record of winning. Even no matter what era, they always pick up trophies. Obviously, they won the last ODI World Cup, the 50 over one. But where do you think they are? They obviously just come off the Ashes win, but where do they seem in your head right now going into this?
I always see it as like world challengers, no matter what World Cup or no matter what format you're playing in. Just based on their system and the way they manage their game, I think they probably will beat us. Like I say, in any format. So they're the ones that will probably find a way to get into the knockout, even without trying, and probably with slipping up at some point, they probably will get into those last spots.
Mm. Yeah,
they're just one of those teams that find a way.
But it's quite an interesting group when you look at it, because you've got Australia, who I think will probably go through. Like you said, I agree, they'll go through. They always find a way of getting into the semi-finals, even when they haven't been playing well. The last 50 over World Cup, they didn't really play well at all until the final, but they somehow were just there. And then they obviously won the final. Looking at this group, Sri Lanka, Ireland, Zimbabwe, and Oman. If I'm one of those associate nations like Ireland, Zimbabwe, and Oman, they must think there's a real opportunity to finish second in that group.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's a very level playing field. There's not a lot of World Cup experience. There's a lot of, I would say, like, uncertainty around those teams on the world stage, because they're not consistently there. They don't play a lot of international cricket on a big stage. They play a lot on the smaller stage. So when it comes to a big tournament, who's got the mettle to stand up and show their worth? With Sri Lanka, with it being a home, or like with them hosting the tournament, they've probably got to stand a good chance just from the understanding of conditions. But yeah, I wouldn't write off any of the other four teams in there.
Yeah, I naturally think, because Sri Lanka are a host of the tournament and the home conditions, so they will be playing at home for a lot of it. But they didn't look that great in the recent series against England. I'm going to be quite bold, and I am going to predict that Sri Lanka won't get out of their group. I think we talked about there is going to be a giant killing, and there is going to be upset, and I think this is where one of them can happen. I'm looking at I think Australia dead certs for the knockout to get through this group. I'm looking at those four. I don't think Sri Lanka are that far out. And I could be completely wrong here, make myself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
but I don't think Sri Lanka are that far ahead of Ireland, especially Zimbabwe and Ireland. They play fairly regularly cricket, and they have relatively good records in 2020 tournaments in recent times. You know, Sri Lanka is Ireland are a decent outfit. They've got decent players. So is Zimbabwe. Oman, look, they're up and coming. They've regularly coming back into tournaments. They're okay. They've got some decent players. I watched a bit of them in the Asia Cup recently. I don't expect much from them. No disrespect intended. But Ireland and Zimbabwe have been around the block a little bit now, especially Zimbabwe. Do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to say Australia and Zimbabwe to get through.
Oh, that's lovely and bold.
It's a big one. What about you, Australia and?
Probably Australia, Ireland. Like looking at it, Ireland are one of those teams. Ireland are one of those teams that again have got a load of. They've probably got more experience in terms of World Cups, and they've just got that typical Irish grit. Essentially, they'll find a way. They'll want to win. They'll want to prove their worth, especially with associate nations in their group. They don't want to be seen as the underdogs in that group amongst the others.
Well, I think when you look at the associate nations, you kind of, I kind of put like the Zimbabwe's and the Islands and maybe the Scotlands as kind of the best of those, better than the kind of other things. They're almost too good to be an associate nation, but not maybe quite good enough to be a full ranked ICC member. They're in that little weird period in between. Yeah. You know, they're probably
like on par.
Yeah, and they're probably on par on their day with like West Indies, current West Indies and Bangladesh. They're probably up there with those teams. So again, and I think Ireland and Netherlands are two teams who have been the most. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see shock from them. So we've both gone for some shocks in this group. Sri Lanka goes not making out of the group, which is interesting. Cool. All right, Group C. Group C.
Yeah.
So we've got England, 2-time winners. West Indies, also 2-time winners, who beat Scotland today. Nepal and, for the first time ever, Italy.
Love that one.
So that's really cool. That is really cool. That's really cool that Italy have are making their first ever appearance. You know, I was completely unaware about Italy's cricket setup, but in whatever the story here, it's super cool that we're getting a brand new cricketing nation, Italy. So yeah, just let's talk about that. That in itself is pretty cool.
I think again, like with the amount of experience that they've got from players that have played in county cricket and then guys that have been around the block, they've pulled in people that have either played for another nation or that have been involved at a high level somewhere else. So again, a little bit like America, not a lot of born and bred Italians in that side, but again, bringing in people that are going to add value to Italian cricket. JJ Smuts is one of them. He's actually never been to Ireland before, so Italy. He's never been to Italy. So he said he would love to go to visit Italy after this World Cup.
Wow!
After obviously playing for Italy in the World Cup, you've got Wayne Madsen, who's a stalwart for Derbyshire, and that has played both hockey and cricket at the national level. So got some seriously good talent there. And then you've got a guy called Marcus Campiano, who's actually based down south in Sussex, I think it is. He's also a coach, because I've been in contact with him previous to the World Cup. So I've kind of seen his journey a little bit to the World Cup. So yeah, you've got guys there that are involved in all different channels that are now bringing value back into the Italian setup.
So anyway, let's look at the groups. We've got England, West Indies, Scotland, Nepal, and Italy. So West Indies have already clocked up a win. They've beaten Scotland. England play Nepal tomorrow. What do we think here? I personally think this is pretty straightforward, but yeah.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more straightforward groups. But again, it takes. I'm assuming that it'll be Italy that cause an upset in that group. Out of the teams there, I see Italy causing an upset just based on the fact that they'll want to prove a point. You've also obviously got Scotland who've been included in it at lastminute.com, so they'll probably also pitch up for one game at least and prove a point, probably against England, because I want to show them up a little bit. But yeah, I don't see anyone else coming out of that group other than West Indies and England.
Yeah, same. I mean, I really would like. I think it would be hilarious if England didn't make it out of the group, but I can't see that happening. On England, for a second, what do we think of their chances? Because they've won it twice, but it feels like England and its cricket, all of its teams seem to be in a weird phase at the minute. They've not had a good time of things. They've just been hammered in the Ashes. A whole heap of stuff happening off the field with their captains and drinking and all sorts of stuff has been going on. So they've gone to Sri Lanka. I think they won. I think at least they won the 2020 series out there. We're not sure about the one day, but they won the 2020 series out there, which is good prep for this. But I feel like they're not being mentioned as some of the favourites. They're not being talked about, and that might be a good thing. I don't know. But what do you think about England and their chances in this World Cup?
I think it's one of those things, having obviously come from South Africa and coming from a country like South Africa where there's a lot more noise off the field than there is on the field.
Yeah.
And I think whenever there's stuff off the field, especially at a tournament like this, it contributes massively to what happens on the field. No matter how much you control it, no matter how much you want to make your own narrative around it, the press will do their own thing. Obviously, big media outlets from the likes of India, from the likes of Oz, will be doing everything they can to hound like the English and put them down to obviously diminish their chances of progressing through the tournament. So I think there'll be a lot of mind games around England's cricket. I don't think they'll have much control over what happens, and they'll just have to pitch up, which is very difficult in a time where there's a lot of off-field noise.
Yeah, and look, a lot of this has been self-inflicted. I'm not going to lie to you. My sympathy for all this is very low. They've put themselves in this position, so I can't don't feel too sorry for them. And the thing is, England as well, their record in tournaments in the subcontinent is dreadful. Especially in recent years, they tend to have a very awful record where they don't win a lot of games, they don't qualify for the knockout stages. But they've still got a talented bunch of guys. They've still got some world-class players in the team, and that can't be ignored.
And they're probably lucky that they've ended up in a group like that. If they ended up in any of the other groups, they probably would have been on one of the first flights home.
Yeah, because we're coming on to, and there's always a group of death in any international tournament, and we're coming into that one. Unfortunately, your guys are in that one, but we'll come into that one. But I think with England, and I think England might be saved by the fact that you've got a lot of their guys some of the guys who play in the IPL. I'm thinking of Harry Brook, Josh Butler, Jacob Bethel, who's like the new superstar on the block. So I think that kind of stuff will get them out of the group. And West Indies, for all their issues in Test cricket, they're still a decent side at white ball cricket. And they've won this tournament twice, so I don't think we can look past them as dark horses for the tournament either.
No, they're deadly in short format cricket, especially T20. I think they've got an intent and they've got a chill factor about them that helps them get through T20 cricket. They don't let anything kind of hold them back. Even when the game's on top of them, they still find a way to pull it back into their favour.
Regularly, yeah. No team has more players with 2020 franchise experience, and they've won the tournament twice, and they've won it in India before as well. In 2016, they had that famous final, obviously against England. So that'll be a nice game. we're not going to do this for every group, but who tops the group?
Who tops the group? Probably West Indies.
West Indies? I think West Indies as well.
Started the way they have. I don't see anyone else topping that group.
Okay, so let's move to Group D. D is for death in this instance because this is a precarious group. I'm glad India are not in this group. Obviously, it's fixed anyway, so it doesn't matter. India would never find themselves in this group. No chance. They saw this and thought, nope, let's put them in the other group with Pakistan and the other. So this has got your team, South Africa, New Zealand, Afghanistan, Canada, and UAE in this group. That is tricky. That is not a... Oof, yeah. Oh,
it's an horrendous group.
That is an awful group to be in. Man, because you really think 2 wins is kind of you're nearly almost secured, but not necessarily in this case. Well, let's just start with your guys, South Africa. I think, obviously, I don't want to mention the tag, which has followed South African
Yeah.
cricket for a long time, but it is a thing, or it was a thing for many years. It's sort of eroded in the last. You made the final of the last 2020 tournament. Last year, won the World Test Championship, so that progressing and winning tournaments is maybe coming into a little bit. What do you think are South Africa's chances in this competition? Obviously, the big World Cup next year at home. So yeah, what do you think?
I think for once it looks like the environment around the team is as solid as it possibly has been going into the World Cup in terms of personnel, in terms of the coaching staff, in terms of their methods and madness and planning behind the scenes. I think they've finally got people that know what they're doing, and are all on the same page. Again, it's hard because all it takes is for someone a little bit higher up than the head coach in South Africa to have a bad day in the office, and we get into a situation where they're not happy with the team selection and they're wanting something to change. So again, I think the only way South Africa don't progress in this World Cup is if there's something uncontrollable that happens. I think if they control and they play their best game, they've got a really good side. They've got some seriously good T20 players. They've got a good environment. They've got a good head coach. And yeah, you would hope out of those teams that they do have the best opportunity to get out of that group.
Agreed, yeah, and I think just at the end of 2025, I think South Africa played in a series in India, and there was you could see that they have a lot of good players. It's like you were saying, the side seems very settled now, and you've got a good balance to the team in terms of a phenomenal bowling attack, one of the best bowling attacks in the tournament, potentially the best bowling attack in the tournament, and yeah, the batting order is very settled as well. I think this just comes down to the usual thing. It just comes down to the pressure moments. It just comes down to that, if they get through, because it's all fine when you get through the group of it. Suddenly, if they're in the semi-final, just the pressure tell, especially with the World Cup next year. It would be great for South Africa. It would be great for world cricket if South Africa came into that tournament as winning this, because I would you don't want South Africa to be going into next year, the World Cup at home, with so much pressure to win that competition. Because they got to semi-final in this one, and then they lost this. If they lost in the final and semi-final, I hate to think what that will do psychologically for next year. The pressure is going to be enormous, right, on the guys.
100%. Well, they've probably got the best chance now to correct the wrongs of years gone by. Like I say, with the side that they've got, with how settled they are, I don't see how they don't get out. I don't see how they don't progress. But it's whether they've got the nous to win a final. Like if you look at the last final, with as close as we were to winning that game, we gave it away. There's no ways with Heinrich Klaasen at the crease, you shouldn't be easing it home with 24 runs to win, I think it was.
It's just one Jasprit Bumrah over that changed the game, but it was serene. I'd given up. I'd really given up. Yeah. The way Klaasen was batting, it looked like the game was done. So again, that's the things. It's just those little things. I mean, I wouldn't even say that it was a choke or anything like that. It was a crazy over, but then like again, it's the pressure. And if South Africa can get over that, and I feel like this team is due a white ball win. The country think wants a white ball win. Hopefully, I obviously hope it doesn't come this year, but I would really like it great if you won a home World Cup. I think that would be one of the biggest moments in the history of cricket if South Africa to win a home World Cup next year. Let's see. Let's make India and South Africa in the final next year, and you guys can win that one. I'm happy with that.
That's very kind of you.
The ICC can fix it that way.
Yeah, I know about that one.
We'll get it all set up. But obviously, India and Pakistan will play in that group stage as well. But yeah, look, obviously, crazy group game though, because you've got New Zealand who, although never actually seem to win a white ball tournament, they always get to the semis and finals some way. They go under the radar, New Zealand. So again, I don't know. This is really hard to call because you've got Afghanistan as well, who are not. They're no longer an associate nation. They're one of the big boys now, and they're really good white ball team. They've got some dangerous player, and they tend to beat a lot of teams. They're a dangerous team. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know.
I'll help you out here. I'm gonna go South Africa, Afghanistan in this group.
South Africa and Afghanistan. Okay, I'll go South Africa, not just because you're
here. I just think because Afghanistan, being from that part of the world, will have a bit better chance in the conditions. I think again with New Zealand's history in past World Cups, getting there and failing, I don't know how much that's going to weigh on them and the pressure of needing to get out of this group. So yeah, I'm going to go South Africa, Afghanistan.
I've scribbled out Afghanistan, New Zealand three times on this little piece of paper that I've got in front of me because I just don't know. See, the thing is, New Zealand were just in India for a series, but they lost. They won the one-day series, but they lost the 2020 series, and they lost quite badly in the 2020. And it really seemed that in a lot of the games, once India started going and hitting it, like their heads just dropped, and they really they became very wayward, which was a concerning thing, which is not something I normally see with New Zealand. They're normally in it until the very, very end. But I've noticed a trait in that game that they were just completely once India had 2-3 overs of power hitting, they were just their heads dropped and the fielding was wayward. So for that reason, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm also going to go South Africa and Afghanistan to make it out of their group. So this is what you have predicted as your teams to progress to the next round. You've got India, USA, Australia, Ireland, England, West Indies, South Africa, and Afghanistan. So that's quite cool. You've got Ireland and USA making out. You've got some big teams not making it. Pakistan and Sri Lanka not making it through.
I love a good bold call. Whether it comes off or not is a different story, but I love going with a good bold call.
Exactly, yeah. You've got to make the bold calls because, you got to be in it to win it. And I've gone a little bit safe with mine, I guess. I've gone India, Pakistan, Australia, Zimbabwe, England, West Indies, Afghanistan, and South Africa to make it to the Super 8 stage. So I guess all of these teams play each other once or twice, and then the top 4 make it to the semi-finals. So which teams do you think are going to make it into the semi-finals then?
And why? Or just going, I'm going to go South Africa.
Yeah, and go why. Why not? Show you're working as well, yeah.
Okay, so South Africa, just because, again, I think they got to the final last time. They'll want to go that one step further. West Indies, just from the simple fact that they dominate T20 cricket. Australia, just because they know how to win World Cups. And then you've got England, just because they'll find a way to want to prove people wrong. With the narrative that's going around at the moment, they'll have to do something to prove people wrong, and this is probably the chance to do that. So when they get back home, they're not getting slated for it.
Those some huge calls in there. That's a huge goal. So you've got South Africa, West Indies, Australia, and England as your semi-final picks. Okay, that's very interesting. I'll go with mine. India. I've gone India, Australia, South Africa, and Pakistan as mine. India, well, host nation. I think they're probably, and obviously, yes, I'm a little bit biased saying this, but I do think they're the best team in the tournament in terms of player personnel and squad depth and everything. And
is their name already engraved on the trophy?
And the name is already on the trophy. Yeah, we're not gonna lose 2 home World Cups in a row. That's just no one's gonna allow that to happen. Jay Shah won't let that happen. So. India because and I think and look, you know what's crazy? There's never been a host, never as a host of a World T21 a competition, which I found quite crazy actually. So that record has got to change at some point. Yeah, I just feel like it's surely the time. And India don't have a great record with tournaments in India either. I think they've only won 1 out of the last 2 or 3 or 4. So yeah, anyway, India to get to the semi-final. Australia just because Australia find a way. It's like we said, they may need to play spectacularly. They may scrape through with some last minute thrillers, but they've got the people and it's more the know-how. They just know how to win. They don't give up. And I think that's really important in 2020 cricket. So yeah, I think Australia, South Africa, I think, like you said, very balanced team. I think you got a lot of guys from the South who play in the IPLs. They might be more familiar with Indian conditions. I think Quinton de Kock coming back into the team is a big one for me. I was really
100%.
shocked when he retired. He's a really, he's one I love watching him play. He's a really good player. Is Henrik Klassen out of the 2020 as well? Is he retired? I know he's retired from ODI. Is he retired from 2020?
From what I'm aware, yeah. Because again, there's a few things surrounding the game that make it difficult for those guys wanting to be involved.
See, that's, I mean, he's such a shame, really, because of the way he played in the
Mm-hmm.
final last year. That is a big loss. But again, I think you guys have coped with that loss pretty fine. And Pakistan, just because that you know, you never know. I honestly think they'll make the group stages. They'll make the knockout stage, but I think they'll also lose to a USA or a Namibia en route to it. You know, even though they're boycotting the match against India, so assume that's a loss of 2 points. I think they'll lose again somewhere, but I think they'll still make it. But they're the kind of team who will pick up pace towards the end of a tournament. They're very dangerous. You never know. And again, they know these conditions pretty well as well. And they've got a decent bowling attack, actually. So I don't think they can be scared. You never know what's going to happen with them. You just never know. So that's why it's dangerous. And I would really love to see if India and Pakistan make the final. Pakistan going to boycott that match.
Oh, there we go. That's a good one. Good walkover.
What happens then? What happens then if they qualify for the final and they're meeting India? Do they boycott? I would love to see this, but let's find out. Okay, so then we're definitely guaranteed to have different winners in our predictions. So you've gone again: West Indies, South Africa, Australia, and England.
Love to see South Africa win one for a change. And again, with recent history, you're hoping this is their chance to do that. And with the last World Cup that they played in, they did all right. So yeah, you're hoping they go that one step further. So I'm going to back them.
I don't know. Part of me would really like to see what happens if India and Pakistan qualify, but let's not get too deep into the politics. I think this is the year that India win a home World Cup, and they're going to erase the trauma of what happened in 2023. And I actually think they'll play Australia as well, just to make it sweeter. Yeah, that would be quite nice if they play Australia and Travis Head gets a duck. I think a lot of people's traumas will be put to rest. If that will be happening,
that's a fair start.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've got a winner. So you're going with South Africa. I'm going for India. I think people might have predicted that at the beginning that we would go for those teams, but that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. And you know what? If South Africa win and India didn't, I wouldn't mind. Like if India, not in the final, obviously, I don't want them if they meet each other again. But if India didn't make it to the final, I would be happy for South Africa to win. I think that'll be a really good thing for world cricket, especially with next year. Part two, I want to talk a little bit about the touring team that we've started together. It's called the Nomadic Kings. So just to really chat about it, really, like it'd be good to let people know, firstly, you know, what it is that we've done, what's the kind of aims for it, what we're doing and what we're planning. Maybe, obviously, I spoke to you about it, but I want to know, like, from your perspective, your first thought. So basically, we had this idea last summer. I thought, well, it'd be a great idea. I was actually watching a match. I was watching on the India-England cricket, the Test series last year. I was watching, and I was thinking to myself, why don't we just start a touring team? Why don't we just get some guys together and just tour places and play cricket? Why am I not doing this? Why haven't I not thought of this idea yet? Is this possible? How hard can it be? And then I thought, well, I always think of things if I'm with my own company or other things that I'm doing, I always break things down. Like, you know, things are never as difficult as you think they are. So if I remember saying this to some few friends, like, oh, what about this? And they're like, they actually laughed. That their reaction was not like you're never going to do it. It just seemed like an inconceivable idea to create a cricket team like that. But then I started thinking, well, if you break it down, how difficult is it to start your own cricket team? How difficult? What are the logistics that you need? Okay, you need to find some guys. Fine. You've got a multitude of groups online, Facebook and everything, where people are always looking for a team, and then you start breaking things down. Actually, it's not as hard as you think it is, and in doing that, that's how you got involved.
Yeah. Again, I think it's where obviously cricket takes people. I think it's one of those amazing journeys that an idea can go as far or as as close as you want it to go with cricket because the network's so massive, because there's so many people involved in it, because there's so many different nationalities, cultures, beliefs that are involved in the game. There's never a limiting factor around it.
Yeah.
And I think when I saw the Nomadic Kings idea, and obviously when chatting to you about it, it was that idea of like essentially having a limitless potential of where to take it. I think a lot of teams have a set structure as how they wanting to do it, or where they wanting to play, or how they wanting to handle things. Whereas the Nomadic Kings was pretty much exactly as the name suggests, nomadic. It's wherever we can play cricket and however we can play cricket and whatever rules we can go by. I think again we've both come from different cultures and different upbringings where we've enjoyed different ways of getting into the game and different ways of learning the game. And essentially that's what I perceive Nomadic Kings to be, is an opportunity to get involved with people that are like me but that are also different to me at the same time. To share a field with them, but then also to share a network with them, to share ideas with them, to share a support system with them.
So, yeah, exactly. And I think sport in general, but cricket especially, is a really good way of unifying people. And that was the thing. It was like bringing people together to just like make friends, make memories. And I really like that word that you said, limitless. That's the thing. Achieving things is not as difficult as you think it is. And again, if you don't put a limit on things, there really is no end to what you can end up doing. We started it, and we called it Nomadic Kings with the idea that nomadic, we can do whatever we want, we go wherever we want, we travel. The idea that we'll travel the UK, then we'll go abroad, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do whatever we want. We want to play cricket, we want to make friends. And it was just like an idea that we started talking about it, and then very quickly we were playing a match. Like it came very quickly, and before we know it, you and me were talking about, right, what are the plans for the team? You were saying, okay, we'll get kit, we'll do this, we'll do that. Do you know someone? Yeah, I know some guys. And then before you know it, there's a club called the 40 Club, who are a widely recognised club throughout the UK. They've got divisions across the UK, but the idea is that their guys are over 40, playing cricket. They play league cricket, they play touring sides, and they got in touch saying, hey, we've got some friendlies in September. Do you want to play? And our actual initial idea was to do a tour this year in 2026. But then when this opportunity came up to play 2 games in September, 2 friendlies, we thought, well, actually, let's do that. Let's get it done now. Why do we have to delay by a year? Let's try and do it now. Get some guys together and then build those foundations a year early so that people meet each other and we can then have some extra games of cricket.
Your whole approach to this thing, the moment you mentioned the idea, you kind of just launched into it. It wasn't like, oh, we'll think about it, we'll see how we go about it. It was like, well, let's do this and let's commit to it and run with it 100%. I'm one of those people, the moment I get an idea in my head, it's 100% or nothing.
Exactly. And I think that's why we've gravitated and become friends, and that's why we're doing this podcast as well. It's like, do you want to do this? Hey, I've got this idea. Let's do this. And then we don't, okay, cool. Well, let me know. No, we're going to do it. Let's just do it. Well, what are we waiting for? And I think we're trying to build that.
You kind of brought me along, which is lovely. Like it helps a load having someone that thinks alike, but then also got a very different, again, work ethics. Like your work ethic is very high in terms of getting these sort of things off the ground and running. I think at times, like from a management point of view, I think your management of things is quality, and that's kind of where these ideas are allowed to run, because you manage it behind the scenes so well that people don't even need to think about it, because it gets off the ground.
No, there is a lot of stress and strain. So any of the guys from the Nomadic Kings watching, it's not easy managing you guys, Mickey especially. No, but we're doing it for the love of what we do, and I do, and we've come a long way in a very short space of time. We actually those 2 games in September became, well, technically, I guess 3, because we played a 2-day test match as well, which is wild. Actually, I know it's only 2 days, but we played a test match as well. We got hammered, but that doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about that. But
we shared a field, we had a good time, and
exactly. Now we've established new networks. We've got a core of a team now, and we've established network with other groups of the teams that we played last year. We're going to be playing them again, and we've got an amazing year set up. And now we've got a core team. And we've got a squad of about 11 people now who've bought into this Nomadic Kings. They understand what we're about. We're going to be touring. We're going to be traveling the world in the not too distant future. We're going to be traveling the UK. So they really have bought into this, which has been really pleasing to see how everyone's gelled. really well. And I encourage people, if they want to do something like this, that you can actually get your own team off the ground. Don't be shackled by other people telling you that you can't do it. You can absolutely, if you want to, but look, the possibilities around, and that's just in life in general. Get up and do it. Work out how you're going to.
There's no point thinking about it.
People will always tell you that you can't. People will, yeah, exactly. People will always tell you, though. You always have people in life telling you that you can't do something, and they'll give you X amount of reasons. The most important thing is, do you think that it can happen? If the answer is yes, spend a bit of time, work out what you need to do, and do those things. You'll find out if you break it down, it's not as hard as you think it is. Well, all these guys that are competing for a trophy in 2026 that we've mentioned in the World 2020, we've actually already won one. So your Indias, your Pakistans, your South Africas, they're yet to win a trophy this year. We as the Nomadic Kings have actually won a tournament this year. We competed in the New Year's Indoor Smash, which you hosted by Point Blank Cricket. We'll get into what Point Blank Cricket is. That's your coaching company. But you started an indoor cricket tournament in January. Tell me all about that. What was the idea behind that? What was going through your head when you came up with this? And what's the future for it as well? We will obviously talk in detail about us winning it, obviously.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like, again, sitting up one night, I was like, just I coach indoors so much. I've obviously got a network of clubs that I know. I've got obviously Instagram, which I wanted to try and see what I could get from there. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to speak to a centre that I've been working with or chatting to for the last little while. Quite a nice tight indoor space for games, and I thought, okay, let's just go with this idea. Pretty similar to you. Initiate the idea, launch the idea, and then just dive into it. And obviously, I knew I'd have the support of Nomadic Kings initially, and then a guy from the content creators jumped on board. Again, through Instagram, through the power of networking, through the reason why I do what I do, kind of jumped on and said, yeah, I'll bring on 2 content creator teams. And then the craziest of connections that, like, I think I've ever had. A guy called Matt from a club in Shaw, so Shaw Cricket Club. He's actually the COO of Burnley Football Club, but he also helps out at Shaw Cricket Club. And he kind of got in touch with me again through Instagram. So I got a team involved, and then we had 4 teams competing for the New Year's Indoor Smash title. And it was a good day. Obviously, a lot of help from people around and a support network to make it happen. But it was just an awesome day, and again, hopefully grow it year on year. I wouldn't want to make it too big. I still like the idea of it being quite close knit and everyone knowing everyone that's involved, not being where you're kind of passing people and you have no idea who they are. It's nice to have that networking environment around it. But yeah, a good opportunity again to establish further network from an indoor tournament, and that was the idea. It wasn't, the competitiveness was key, but it was also to get 4 teams in a room and people to establish more networks and support each other's networks from that tournament.
I found it funny because I had no idea what was going on in terms of the rules in the first sort of an hour of it. I was like, how do we play this game? I had to umpire the first game, and I was like, and because there was a live stream as well. So like I think just to explain, it was 6 over. Each team had 6 overs each to do in about 20 minutes. So obviously you get a score, but the score is like indoor cricket. So you limit. So if it hits the net and then you run, that's 3 runs. It hits the back wall flush, 6 runs, 4 runs. So the scores are going to be quite big, even for 6 over cricket. So you got to change. But scoring it was mad because I was trying to umpire and score, and I was like, right, how many runs have they scored? How many runs have they scored? 7, 6. So it was just wild. But that was part of the fun, just trying to learn the rules. And then somehow, without really knowing the rules, we ended up winning, which is crazy.
But I think that's again that's the story of cricket. I think at times we go too in depth with it. I think at times the more we enjoy it, the more we just crack on with it, the more we actually, or the more successful we become. Again, it's a mental game. The more mental clarity you have around it, and the less noise in your head trying to figure things out and just cracking on with the game, the better it is for you.
I get it. Nobody wants to lose all the time, and it's good that they've experienced winning with us. But I think because we're doing these cool experiences, we're going to the Isle of Wight, for example. I've never been to the Isle of Wight, but it's a beautiful part of the world. And when we're there, I want them to think we're playing a test match in the Isle of Wight, and look at this place. Look where we are. Look at us doing this. We've all become really good friends now. That's only going to get better. So I want them to think that should be first. That's what it is actually all about. Experiencing new places, experiencing cricket and the sport that we love in those new places with my new friends, and just soaking that in. And I think we're very much. I often do this. Like when you go, on my phone, I must have about 1 billion pictures, right, that I've just taken on my travels. When you take pictures, do you ever go back and look at them? Because I don't.
Hardly ever.
I never. I take a million everywhere I go on holiday, and I take a picture of everything I do. Everywhere I go, every time I'm outside, every little second, I take a picture, and I never look at it again. Yeah. So my point I'm trying to make is we don't spend enough time actually absorbing and taking in what we're doing and enjoying it. So I really want that to be the onus on this year and going forward. And yeah, that was a nice moment because you really got to enjoy it. The moment when we won the final was a really nice moment. But the whole day was really nice as well. So well done for doing it. And yeah, like you said. Now that you've done it once, what can we expect for 2027?
Again, so I want to keep it like at max. You're probably looking at 6 teams. Keep the day flowing nicely. But again, it's just to have a similar thing where it's a network of people coming together to enjoy a New Year's tournament and essentially sharing each other's knowledge, sharing each other's networks, and sharing a love for the game. It's as simple as that. It's nothing more complicated. It's for everyone to get along and possibly add value to the Nomadic Kings as well. How many of those content creators don't have or might have an opportunity in summer that they want to get away and play a game midweek, and the Nomadic Kings is the perfect answer for that.
If any of the content creators are watching this, I took an amazing catch in one of our games, and I want to find the footage of this because some people are doubting that it happened, and I need to shut up some people. So if anyone's got footage of my electrifying, amazing diving catch, please send it to me. Clip it and send it.
Tag him in the comment section.
Just send it to me, or put it openly on one of your products and tag me in it, please. Cool. Well, you look. We'll talk about point blank cricket shortly, but if anyone is interested in playing against the Nomadic Kings or being part of the Nomadic Kings, find us on Instagram. We're called the Nomadic Kings Cricket, or comment on this video, get in touch. We'd love to chat to you. And if you want to be part of next year's New Year's Indoor Smash and you want to take on the defending champions, the Nomadic Kings, let us know. Get in touch with Kieran. Get in touch with me. I'll be happy to host you. All right, so to finish, Kieran, part 3, obviously you are a qualified cricket coach, an ECB qualified coach. You do a lot of coaching with seniors, with juniors, all sorts of stuff. So I really wanted to spend the last time just chatting about you on your journey from South Africa to what you're doing now. So where in South Africa are you from? What was life like there? What brought you to the UK? Let's start there.
So, I was born in Fourways. Or Randburg actually. Lived in Fourways. Went to
where is Fourways? I'm not that key clone.
So that's Johannesburg. So Joburg or Gauteng. And so people, that's your province. It's Gauteng province, which is very central in South Africa. You've got Cape Town down at the bottom. You've got Limpopo at the top. You've got Joburg in the middle here, cooking in the middle.
Nice. Okay.
So some seriously good cricketing schools in Joburg. The likes of Graham Smith, Quinton de Kock, A.B. de Villiers, Pat du Plessis are all around from the Gauteng / Pretoria area. They went to the likes of Kes. That area is a very good, strong cricketing area. Grew up there. Kind of fell in love with the game the moment I could walk. Obviously, being South Africa, decent weather, summer's evenings, get back home from school, get out into either the driveway or in the in the garden, and have a game of cricket pretty much every night getting back home from school. And then obviously with that with that passion kind of just kept growing. School obviously had very good coaching at schools. I was lucky enough to go to two very good or went to a very good primary school that had a very good cricket setup, and then I went to a very good high school. We were ranked in the second last year that I was there. We were ranked fourth in the country in terms of cricket. We had a few guys that played SA under 19 cricket. We had a guy who captained South Africa under 19 at the World Cup in 2010. So I've come from an environment of very good cricket, and been lucky to be exposed to some seriously good cricketers. Shared the change room with Aidan Markram at school. Was in the same provincial team as him in 2011. So yeah, I've been very fortunate with the people that I've been around.
Very casual flex that. Yeah, I shared the change room with Aidan Markram, current South African captain.
Again, it is casual because guys like that are probably the most down to earth people I've met. Aidan is one of those people that doesn't and wouldn't want to be shouted about. He's one that at school worked his backside off. He's one that, again, through no fault of his own, as much as he tried, never was successful at like an age group level, grafted, and after school got his opportunity, and that's where he is now. And that's kind of where I've always aligned with Aidan, because Aidan is the guy that made it, and I was the one that didn't. So I've kind of pictured myself alongside him.
Okay, cool. So what brought you to England, and then how did you get up into coaching here then?
So my dad was born in the UK, so I've had a British passport since I was born, which I'm extremely grateful for. And I've been involved as a director of cricket at a school in South Africa for a few years. And like with anything else, I get bored quite quickly. So I wanted to find a new opportunity. I'd always wanted to come over to England to play club cricket from the age of pretty much 16, 17. So I got in touch with an agent, kind of handed over my details to him. He put those out, and then I had two clubs, one from the Greater Manchester League, and then I had one from Bradford that reached out to me. And yeah, I ended up in Bradford, not knowing any better. But what an awesome place. Like, I love Yorkshire. I love the people. And I loved the opportunity that presented itself. Got involved with a coaching company called Pro Coach Cricket when I first moved over. I'd literally been here for 2 weeks, got involved with them, and I stuck with them pretty much. Well, I'm still with a version of what Pro Coach used to be now. And the amount of lessons and the amount of opportunities I've had with them since I've moved over has been immense, and it's got me to where I am today. So I'm kind of hybrid. I call myself a hybrid coach. So I wouldn't have an actual location. I'm based anywhere between. So I live in Manchester. I coach in Leeds. I coach in Bradford. I coach in Huddersfield. If there's people that want me to travel, I'll travel. Obviously, there's different things that can be brought in. I'm one of those. I'm a journeyman. I'm willing to travel to coach, and it's about, again, spreading the network and growing the network around that.
Your company is called Point Blank Cricket. Why did you call it Point Blank Cricket, and why did you start it? And yeah, what's the journey behind that? What's the initial stages of that? Talk me through that.
So it was something that it's one of those ideas that I had, similar to you, where it's just like you think about it, you want to establish it, you want to get it off the ground. And the reason Point Blank, so my coaching, being who I am, I like being quite direct with my messaging. I like being straightforward. I don't like beating around the bush. And the people that I work really well with are the people that like a bit of honest conversation. They like being quite upfront with the communication that we have. and they like being taken to task and being held to task with the coaching that I provide. So again, with that, the idea of point blank cricket came about. I also wanted to provide something that was different to just coaching. I wanted to provide a platform for almost mentorship and just holistic lifestyle management. I wanted to create good people, not just good cricketers, and I think that's my idea behind point blank.
Amazing. So who do you last question now? But who do you coach? Like, is there a set demographic that you cater for, or is it everybody that you coach for?
Anyone who can pick up a bat and who can't pick up a bat, I'll work with. Because someone's on a journey somewhere, whether they're involved in the game or not. I want to work with people. So if they've got an understanding of the game, or they're wanting to grow an understanding of the game, I'm willing to work with them. The people that have an understanding of the game but don't want to work on it or work on that understanding of the game, I kind of stick away from. So yeah, anyone who loves the game, anyone's passionate about it, anyone that's willing to grow that passion and love for it, I'm all in.
I think that's a good little place to stop, don't you think? In the podcast, we'll obviously touch
Yeah.
more about your coaching journey, your philosophy. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed talking about that, learning a little bit more. And listen, there's going to be more. I think hopefully we're doing this episode on Zoom, just because scheduling and we're both very busy, so getting this organised has been difficult for both of us. But we will hopefully want to do this in a proper podcast studio. So hopefully episodes to come, we'll be doing it in a proper studio. But for now, make do with us on Zoom. The next time you see us will probably be a week into the World 2020, so we'll catch up on where we're at. We'll see how many of our predictions are actually wrong or right. We'll chat more about the Nomadic Kings, what we've got planned. We'll talk about, league cricket and our experiences with league cricket. I'll tell you a little bit more of my journey. You want to hear more about your coaching stuff? It sounds amazing. And yeah, I think that's what we're really talk more about grassroots cricket and league cricket. I think not enough podcasts cover that, and the majority of cricket fans are just ordinary guys who play village cricket or Sunday cricket or just league cricket anywhere around the country. So getting on that level, we talk about those things like funny things that have happened, what some of the village things you've seen, cricket teas, they've disappeared. Are they going to come back? I hope so. But yeah, just stuff like that we want to hear more about. So yeah, Kieran, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, listening to you. All the best for South Africa in the tournament.
Yeah, and all the best to India. Hopefully they can stick true to the name.
Fine. We don't need luck. It's already done. It's already done for us, so it's fine.
It's there.
Yeah, it's fine. When you got the BCCI and ICC in your pocket, it's all good. You don't need luck, man.
Aren't they the same thing?
Let's not get political. No comment. No comment. I don't know anything. Jay Shah's calling me right now. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, listen, this has been the Clean Bowl podcast. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you share and tell all your friends, all your cricketing family, and everyone you know about us. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe. And I've been Sab. This has been Kieran. We'll see you next time.